show you in Illustrator how to create type on a curve. Go to New, under File menu. I'm going to create 8.5 by 11 inches. It doesn't matter resolution. It's going to be infinitely resizable. So the resolution option is always high res. 8.5 by 11, there we go. I have a few layers open. I have layers, transparency, color, character, and pathfinder. I want to go to File, Place. I'm going to place an image from the Aurora University folder. Okay, so this is the image I'm going to digitize, much like the logos that you have and you're going to digitize. So I want to look at my layers first. I have one layer here. I want to copy it. So I can go right click on it. I have to deselect it first. Right click on this layer. I do believe, maybe not. Okay, let's do this way. Duplicate layer one. Okay, layer one, copy. I'm going to move behind layer one, just drag it down. And I'm going to lock it. And I'm going to turn the little eyeball off. So the only logo, the only layer that I'm seeing is right here. Turn the eyeball back on. So I want to reduce the opacity of this layer one. So if I select that layer, and I go to transparency right here, I want to lower it to about 30% so I can see it, but I don't want to have it interfere with my layer that I'm going to draw on top of. So I lock that layer as well. And want to create a new layer above that layer. This is called layer 3. I can name these. You don't have to. There's not that many layers where you're going to get confused. But I'll just label it anyway. Drawing. This is the copy. Okay, back on the drawing layer. If I want to set the text on a curve, go to the circle tool or the ellipse tool. There are other options under that same tool, but I just want the circle. If I put my cursor somewhere in the middle, hold down Shift and Option, that constrains what I draw to a circle, a perfect circle drawing from the center out. I don't want to have a fill, so I come down here to the fill portion and I select the red arrow, that's no fill. Go to the black arrow and move the circle down. It's pretty close. I actually have a pretty good eye. So now I'm going to set the text around the circle. Go to the T for text. Hold that down. You have other options here as well. I'm creating type on a path. So that's the tool I select. Click on the path with the cursor with a little wiggly line. Go ahead and set your type. Okay, it's really tiny type. Wipe over the type or triple click. My character palette is right here. I want it to be like a Helvetica, probably rounded. If you type in the first few letters of the font, it will at least get you somewhere in the ballpark. So here's Helvetica. You can change the typeface at any time. I'm going to make it a little bigger right now. Might be 72 point, nope, pretty big, don't want that. How about 48? Still too big. Maybe 36. Still too big. Maybe 24, too small. So let's go somewhere in between. Wipe over the 24, type in 30, hit return. I would really like a rounded typeface, and I know that there is a Helvetica rounded. I'll just make it bold, Helvetica rounded, bold. There we go. That looks pretty good. So this is really tracked out. So tracking in Illustrator right here in this little box. Let's try 200 point. and that's not even enough. You can, again, wipe over the number, type in your own number, whatever, it might be 250, getting there, try 300, a little bit more. And you'll notice how it's spreading out the letters equally, tracking close. Sometimes it just takes a little while. It's just good at 400. Do I have 400? Okay, so I think that that looks pretty good as far as tracking out the lettering. There are these two little box-shaped cursors, I guess, or lines at the end. When you move those, your text will move. If I drag the right one. It keeps adding text here. Sorry, I'm going to enlarge it a little bit so I can see it. That might help. There we go. So there are two I-beams. One moves the type, and the other one, if I don't have it moved away far enough, it disappears. So you want to make sure that you have the bottom I-beam down far enough so that the top I-beam does not exceed and go past that. So I'm going to drag our guide down, Command R, rulers. Click in the ruler area, drag your guide down. I think I probably would have to increase the tracking to get the E to come all the way down here, or enlarge the typeface just a tad. If I go to the type tool again, triple click in that area, maybe it should be 33 or 34. 34 is too much, okay. 32, perfect. Go to the black arrow to deselect it. So now you've got your text on a curve. My layers, if I turn the bottom layer off underneath that drawing, you'll see what the text looks like. So what I want to do now is the copy layer that I have. I want to turn that eyeball on, turn the eyeball off on the drawing and the layer one. So I need to also unlock this layer here and click on it, copy. I want to auto trace the word kindred. So if I select the image that I placed on the layer that I copied called copy, and if you go up under image trace at the top, pull down to silhouettes, it traces everything. You have to ungroup it from there. So actually you have to expand it before you ungroup it. So object, expand the object. You'll see a bunch of little dotted lines. Now you want to ungroup it. So ungroup, you can do edit, ungroup, or you can do Command Shift G. And I know I have to ungroup it twice. Edit, ungroup again. I think it's under edit. I'm just so used to the keyboard shortcuts that Command Shift G ungroups it. If I deselect it, click off of it, click back on it, I can see the word kindred, and it traced it pretty nicely. To each their cone, that looks really not good being auto traced. So all I want to keep on this layer probably is the word kindred. I may keep these little sparks. I can draw the cone if I want to. I don't want to select each item that I want to deselect or get rid of individually. So if I select all, hold shift, click on the word kindred, it should deselect it, but it's not wanting to do that. I can use the lasso tool and just really sloppy kind of select everything I want to delete. Hit delete, and I'm left with kindred. I'm going to hit delete again because there were some extra points there. Go back to the black tool, click on my drawing layer, and there you go. I could continue by drawing the ice cream cone on the drawing layer. So that would be a pretty easy fix. pretty easy thing to draw. I've got my circle tool. If I put it somewhere in the middle of the cone, hold shift, command down, shift constrains it to a circle, command draws from the center out. Probably on the wrong layer here. Drawing layer, yeah, okay. Let's try that, try it again. It's selecting the text, I think, sorry. So, when in doubt, make a new layer. Layers aren't gonna mess you up like they do in Photoshop. If you have too many, you can always delete the layers. So I've locked the 2 bottom layers behind it because I want to draw a circle for the ice cream cone. And it was interfering with the text on that layer. So shift option constrains it. If I fill this with none, okay, there we go. And I select the outline, it's the box, hollow box behind the forward box, I guess you'd say, and I give it a stroke. Don't think I have my stroke palette open, so I would go under window, stroke. We'll give it a 5, 6 point. We'll say that's pretty good. So now I want to draw another circle. Deselect that. You can hold down command to get the black arrow. Just make sure your circle is not selected. Go back to your circle. Hold down command option. I'm sorry, shift option. Draw another circle. Copy that circle. Command C, command V, paste it. I'm going to get it somewhere over here. So you can use the Pathfinder, but you can't use it on all 3 objects. It has to be 2. So if I select a big circle and one of the little circles, and I go to Pathfinder Unite, it will join those 2. But that's still selected. If I click on the little circle and that bigger united circle, I think I have to deselect it first. Okay. There we go. And select the little guy and unite those. There you go. You can fill it with a color. I think I have my earth tone palette open somewhere, but I may have closed out the colors since we're not really concerned with colors yet, but you can add color in many different ways. If I click on the fill, I don't know, maybe I want it like a bubble gum. We'll go there. Okay, so that's pretty good. If you want to draw the cone shape, I would say go to the pen tool. So you click, you just let off your mouse, click down here, let off your mouse, click up here, let off your mouse and click over to join. It makes a triangle. You want to send that to the back. So I want to say it's Command Shift back bracket, and it is. Maybe I want to fill that with a brown color. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm not going to put the little lines in there. Well, maybe I will, just because you might want to see that. I wouldn't want to have a fill in the cone. So if I went to none, then I can see the little lines behind it after I select it. Then with the line tool, the line segment tool, I would just draw lines. Okay. I want to send those lines and the cone to the back. I can kind of mark here on all of those things. Let's see if I got them all. Command Shift back bracket. Oop, I missed one of them. Command Shift back bracket, or edit object send to back. On the cone, it looks really, really pointy. You can fix that under your stroke palette. There are some rounded corners. You can click on those and then it kind of rounds out the shape nicely. If you find a line or something that you need to add it a little bit, make it a little longer, just click on it and select it. You can move it. You can click back on the cone part. You're on your fill down here, and that color is still in the palette, and there you go. So, turn off the layers you don't want to see, which would basically be that layer. Pretty easy to do. If I want to embellish it a little further, make sure you're on the right layer. Maybe I want some sprinkles. If I go to that line segment tool again, add a line. It's called a stroke. Go on the stroke. Maybe I want, I don't know, some kind of white looking sparkles. So with that line segment tool still selected, you can just draw a bunch of those little kind of sprinkle-like shapes. And you're done. Save it, just Command S. It will save it as an Adobe Illustrator file. Cone Practice has that. And say OK. Deselect everything after it saves it. There we go. And looks pretty good. If you want to get rid of the guide, you would go to, let's see, View, Guides, Hide Guides, the end. There you go.